Hi everyone! I know I'm late to this party, but let's make the viral bow top with my dress pattern Natalie. I'm Birgit from Kobasiani and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm glad to see you here again and I hope you're doing all great. As you can see, the similarities are really much too obvious not to make this sewing video. The changes are really very minor. I decided to make here the classic V-neck, which you can see everywhere, but I've also seen this top with a square neck shape, so this would even be easier. As you can see it here on my sewing example here, I had to work with a solid fabric, not the lace all over, just because the lace wasn't enough for an all-over look. Okay, so let's start into this very simple pattern hack. I am only showing you here the differences in between the original Natalie top or dress and this version here. The regular sewing video you will find here on my YouTube channel. There's also a whole Natalie playlist to show you all the pattern hacks and variations you can make out of this pattern. The Natalie pattern, which you will need for this top here, you will find in all my shops. I'm on different platforms. The links you will find below this video in the description box. And of course, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up here on YouTube. This will help me a lot to grow as a content creator. And follow me on social media if you like to. I'm, for example, on Instagram and Facebook. So let's get started. Happy sewing!
My biggest problem definitely was that I hadn't that much fabric, but I wanted to make a set. So I had to puzzle my pattern pieces well onto the fabric, plus some of them I had to make in another solid fabric. At the right side you see the pattern pieces for the shorts, then comes the ruffle or first tier of the Natalie top, and then the top parts and the sleeve. And thankfully the flower pattern of my lace had no head pattern, so that I could switch the directions of my pattern pieces. But besides all the fabric shortage, the top front pattern piece is the only one which needs real changes. As you can see it here, the shoulder, armhole, side seam and lower edge I've cut already as the pattern indicates it. Changes are done at the center front and neckline. The center front is of course not cut on fold anymore, and instead of the angular shape of the neckline, we will link now the points here at the top at the neckline at the shoulder with the neckline point at the center front with a slight S-curve. Please keep in mind that I am planning an edge workmanship with a visible piping, which doesn't require any folding at the edge of the main fabric. So if you're doing any other workmanship, for example inside facings or inside pipings, just make sure to add 1 centimeter seam allowance here at the front edge. For the ties, I've cut fabric strips with the width of 5 cm and length 33 cm. And out of these I'm sewing fabric tunnels, which I'm turning around later to the right fabric side. As you can see it here, I'm sewing these ties in my solid fabric. Then I can continue with the sewing process as it is described in the sewing instruction. For my transparent lace, by the way, I've just doubled the top pattern parts. At the cuffs, I also attached some centimeter of the solid fabric to make the fabric tunnel for the elastic tape. This looks cute, but honestly, every single centimeter of saving fabric counted for me. Then I finished everything on my blouse, except the neckline and the center front. Afterwards, I continued with the ties. I pinned them at the inside, along the front edge. The lowest one I attached at the seam between the ruffle and the top part, and the highest tie I pinned to the point where the original neckline began. The third tie is placed just between the highest and lowest tie. Then I'm pinning the piping fabric to the neckline and center front. You can see it here in the video that I've already finished the piping at the hemline. My technique is here to pin and sew the piping at first to the inside of the garment, means the right side of the piping fabric is facing to the wrong side of my garment. Afterwards, I can fold and stitch the piping to the outside of the blouse. At the hemline, I let the piping fabric protrude a little bit so that I can make a nice and clean finish of this corner here. I fold this edge here of the piping towards its wrong fabric side, and then I fold it again to the back like this here. Afterwards, I add a short seam here at the hemline. This set seam you can see here, and after cutting the excess fabric, I can turn around this corner to the right fabric side with all edges clean now. Then the rest of the piping can be prepared for sewing. I fold and iron the edge for around 8 mm to 1 cm to the wrong fabric side, and then I fold the whole piping over the main fabric. Like this, it should also cover the previous piping linking seam. Afterwards, the piping is top stitched from the right fabric side of the garment. To finish my blouse, I just fold over the ties and stitch them down so that they point to the correct side to lace up the center front later.
So that's it already, you've made it. I hope you've enjoyed the sewing video. Leave me a thumbs up on YouTube and share with us in the comments below if this project would be something for you. And I would also love to know which fabric you would choose for this bow top. I hope to see you very soon again to my next sewing video. Take care until then. Bye!